Hello students. So today's topic of discussion is skin and fascia. First let us discuss skin. The skin forms the integumentary system. Why integumentary system? Because integumentary means to cover, and the skin basically covers entire body except for the openings. Hence it is also known as the integumentary system. Now some modifications of the skin are also present, such as the hair, nails and the glands. These are known as the skin appendages. Skin, it is having two components, the epidermis and the dermis. Now students, if you have a look at this image, this is a section of the human skin. Here you can see these are the shaft of hair. Here you can see the hair bulb. Alright. Now, this top layer from here to here that I have marked, this is the epidermis. Beneath that we have the dermis, and below that we have the region known as the hypodermis. Basically, we can divide the skin into three layers: the epidermis, the dermis, and the hypodermis. Coming to epidermis, it is the most superficial layer, and students, it is avascular. That is, the blood vessels they do not reach the topmost layer of our skin. The epidermis, it has been arranged in different layers. Here you can see the 5 different layers in this image. They have been named as the most superficial layer, which is the stratum corneum. Below that, we have the stratum lucidum, the stratum granulosum, stratum spinosum, and stratum basal. However, students, remember the stratum lucidum, it is present only in case of thick skin. In thin skin, you have only the 4 layers, that is stratum corneum, the stratum granulosum, stratum spinosum, and the stratum basal. Lucidum is characteristic of thick skin. So here you can ask, what is thick skin, what is thin skin? So student, the skin covering our palmar surface, our plantar surface, it is always more prone to abrasion because of walking, holding, gripping things. Hence, God has provided us with thick skin here. Whereas rest of our body is covered by a thin skin. What are the different types of cells present in the epidermis? Now students, we have cells known as keratinocytes. They produce keratin and also impart strength to the epidermis. Then we have the melanocytes. These are the melanin producing cells and they contribute to the color. So remember the pigment name, that is melanin, which imparts color to the skin, and the cells producing this melanin are known as melanocytes. Apart from that, you have some cells which have some immunological functions. These cells are known as the Langerhans cell. So any kind of infection or invasion of any microbes, it is being fought in the epidermis by this Langerhans cell. And final type, we have the Merkel cells. These Merkel cells are receptor cells. They can perceive light, touch, and pressure. So the perception of light, touch, pressure is because of the Merkel cell. And these Merkel cells, they are mainly present in large amount in our lips. All right. Then moving to the next layer, that is the dermis. This dermis is sometimes referred to as the true skin. It is also known as the corium. It is a deep vascular layer and it is connected to the hypodermis. All right. I had already told you the 3 distinct parts: epidermis, dermis, and the hypodermis. So the dermis is the middle one, and this dermis, it has also 2 layers: the papillary layer and the reticular layer. So students, have a look at this image. In this image, we are trying to strip off the epidermis from the dermis. So here you can see some prolongations on the upper surface of the dermis. So these projections are known as the dermal papillae. The dermal papilla, they fit into the projections of the epidermis. So this is how they are tightly adherent, the dermis to the epidermis, by these dermal papillae. These dermal papillae, they contain large number of capillary loops, mucinous corpuscles, and free nerve endings. Capillary loops, so blood supply. You know the epidermis is avascular, so blood supply is reaching till the capillary layer of the dermis. From here, the nutrients can be diffused onto the epidermis. Mucinous corpuscles. What is the mucinous corpuscle? These are special mechanoreceptor cells, and these cells, they can sense fine touch and vibration. So fine touch and vibration is being sensed by these mucinous corpuscles, which are present in the capillary layer of the dermis. Kindly remember, these are few important cells. And you have large number of free nerve endings. So mainly the sensations from the skin is going from the dermis. We have the Merkel cells in the epidermis, and apart from that, other sensory corpuscles are present within the dermis. Here in the papillary dermis, you can find large number of capillaries, that is loops of capillary. The blood vessel is reaching till the papillary layer of the dermis. From here to the epidermis, it is the nutrients are carried via the diffusion. Also, you have large number of nerve endings and specialized mechanoreceptors, which are known as the mucinous corpuscles. These mucinous corpuscles, they carry out the function of sensing fine touch and vibration. So mucinous corpuscle, they sense the fine touch and vibration. Now moving to the next layer, that is the reticular layer. In the reticular layer, there are large number of elastin and the collagen fibers. So these elastin and collagen fibers, they provide the strength to the deep fascia. So the dermis reticular layer has large number of elastin and collagen fibers. These provide the structural strength and also the tension lines. So students, what do you mean by tension lines? Kindly look at this image. So the collagen fibers, the connective fibers, they run through the body in different directions. However, in a particular region, these lines, they run in a parallel fashion. So if you see in the upper limbs, the lines, they are running longitudinally. In case of the trunk, they are mostly transverse. Whereas around the eyes, around mouth, where the circular openings are present, they are concentric or circular. So a knowledge of the direction of these tension lines in different parts of the body is very important, because while doing the surgery, when you give an incision, this incision should be made parallel to the tension lines. If it is done across the tension lines, then it leads to improper healing or gaping of wound. So in this image, you can see the tension lines, they are running in this direction. However, the incision has been made completely perpendicular to it, as a result of which this will lead to gaping of wound and improper healing. Whereas in this image, you can see the Langer lines running in this direction and the incision has been given here. So it is parallel to the direction of the Langer lines or the tension lines. Hence, it will have proper healing. This wound will have a proper and faster healing. Now moving to the next topic, that is thick skin and thin skin. This thing I have already discussed, that is the palm and sole, they have thick skin. And rest of the body, it is covered by the thin skin. The skin color. Students, skin color, it generally depends on three factors, the different pigments. We just discussed one, that is the melanin produced by melanocytes. Then the blood flow. The circulation of blood also produces the skin color, because in case the person is deoxygenated, then he appears blue. This condition is known as cyanosis. And in case the blood is well enriched with oxygen, that is oxyhemoglobin, it imparts a reddish hue to the skin. It imparts a reddish hue or reddish color to the skin. Functions, student, these things you have learned from your school time. They provide protection. They are sensory. Also, they help in regulation of temperature. How regulation of temperature is done, that we'll learn. Help in vitamin D production. Always remember, students, the synthesis of vitamin D takes place only when sunlight falls upon our skin. Excretion, sweating, and along with our sweat, large amount of electrolytes and all, they are also lost. So excretion, regulation of the blood body pH. All right. So the acid base balance. Acid base balance is also somewhat maintained by the skin. Absorption. Students, when you apply any topical ointment or cream, it gets absorbed to us in our skin. So absorption is also one of the critical function. Secretion. Oily substances are secreted from our sebaceous glands. Storage. They store fat underneath it. And finally, reparative. That is, once a cut is there, the healing also starts. So they are reparative. So here is an image showing how blood vessel dilates and heat is lost across the epidermis. So the blood flow which is coming as the blood dilates gets redirected towards the skin. And as it reaches the skin, the transfer of heat occurs to the epidermis. Whereas in opposite or the reverse scenario, what will happen if vasoconstriction is there? That means these blood vessels, they get constricted. Then what will happen? The blood will remain within the deeper compartments. Hence, the heat is preserved within the body. Students, another important topic you should know is burns. How burns are classified. Now, what is burn? When the skin is exposed to high temperatures, then it is going to damage your skin. So, if only the epidermis is affected, then it is the first degree burn. If the dermis is also affected, it is the second degree burn. And if the burn it reaches till the hypodermis, so this part is the hypodermis, then it is the third degree burn. So depending on the structure involved, if it is the superficial most, that is epidermis, it is first degree burn. If it also involves the dermis, it is second degree, and if the burn which is the hypodermis, it is a third degree burn. Now, students, this is an image showing the rule of 9. What is this rule of 9? The rule of 9, it is generally used to calculate the surface area which has been affected by burns. So, each part of the body has been designated a certain percentage of the surface area of the body. All right. For example, the head and neck region is said to be 9% of the total body surface area. Here you can see head has been labeled as 9%. The upper limb, each limb, 9%, 9%. The thorax and abdomen region, they are taken together as the trunk. So front of the trunk is 18%. That is 9 into 2. All right. So here also 9 comes. 18% is the front of the trunk, and back of the trunk it is also 18%. Coming to the lower limb, each lower limb is 18%. So if we add up what it comes, complete 100%. Or we left something. Yes, we left something. 1% is attributed to the genital region. The genital region comprises of 1% of the body surface area. So each limb 18%. So both will give are 36%. The trunk, front and back, if we see, it is again 36%. So only the trunk and legs, if we take together, they comprise the 72% of the body surface area. And rest is comprised by the upper limb, head and neck, and the genital region. In this image, the same thing has been shown. The head and neck region having the 9%, trunk region, front and back 18% each, each of the lower limb 18%, and each of the upper limb 9%. Genitalia 1%. Now students, coming to the chain rule of 9 in case of a child. Students, in infants, the size of the head and neck region, it is much larger than the other parts of the body. Proportion is much larger in case of children. Hence, the head and neck region has been designated an area of 18%, and the legs, they are designated an area of 14% each. Rest all are same as in case of an adult. So that's all about the discussion about skin. See you in next class.